So you got Aubrey Hale here. Aubrey Hale. This is the Tennessee shooter. Nashville, Tennessee school shooter. A former student too. So Aubrey Hale, 28 years old. This is 28-year-old Aubrey Hale. Former student at the Christian school, mowed down 6 people before being fatally shot by police. Aubrey Hale killed Evelyn Deekhouse, Haley Scruggs, and William Kinney, all age 9. So R.I.P. to Evelyn, Hallie, William Kinney, all age 9, as well as custodian Mike Hill, substitute teacher Cynthia Peak, both 61 years of age, and school head Catherine Kuntz, age 60. So that's Aubrey Hale, and that happened March, at the end of March, so that happened a month ago. Now I just got some notes here, and then I got like a little parable. Aubrey Hale's manifesto. She had this long manifesto, right? The FBI says that it's a perfect blueprint for total destruction, and it's astronomically dangerous. So they're stalling about releasing any of it because it's very detailed. It's very, very detailed. There's 20 journals, 5 laptops, 2 memoirs, cell phone, yearbooks, a whole bunch of stuff. Aubrey Hale had a whole bunch of stuff. You had a Republican from Tennessee, Tim Burchett, a congressman, that said, release the information. Release the information. Aubrey Hale, of course, is transgendered, which I don't even know what that really means. Here's a list of some of the gangs that we found in L.A. County. Banditos, Jump Out Boys, Executioners, Grim Reapers, Vikings, Regulators, Spartans, Gladiators, Cowboys, Devils, Little Devils, Cavemen, Buffalo Soldiers. I like that last, Buffalo Soldiers. So here's a little parable. What can we say about Aubrey Hale? Aubrey Hale killed a lot of innocent people. Thou shalt not murder, you pieces of shit. You gotta stop criminals from criminalizing people, you pieces of shit. So that's the main thing. A great calamity befell the town of Chelm. One day the town cobbler murdered one of his customers. The town cobbler. He was brought before the judge, who sentenced him to die by hanging. When the verdict was read, a townsman arose and cried out, "But, Your Honor, if Your Honor pleases, you've sentenced to death the town cobbler. He's the only one we got. If you hang him, who's going to mend our shoes? Who's going to fix our shoes? Leather fix it? Who? Cried all the people of Chelm with one voice, and the judge nodded in agreement, and he reconsidered his verdict. He's like, okay, I have reconsidered my verdict, and I've come up with the good people of Chelm, he said. What you say is true. Since we only have one cobbler, it'd be a great wrong against the community to let him die. As there are 2 roofers in the town, let one of them be hanged instead. What the hell did the roofer have to do with anything? The damn roofer's going to get hung for some dumb shit that the damn cobbler did. We're going to save the cobbler because the town... Why don't y'all learn how to fucking do some cobbling, you son of a bitch? You learn how to mend some fucking shoes, you son of a bitch. Instead, because you need the cobbler, you need the shoe man, you're going to let him get away with... He killed his customer too, so you're going to be a customer. He's injustice anywhere. It's going to happen. It could happen very much. He wasn't like the customer is always right. No, sometimes he says the customer, maybe he is always right. Maybe the customer is right sometimes. But sometimes the customer could be so goddamn wrong that the cobbler could just take him out. Just snuff him out. And so I don't know if that's a true story or what the hell that is. It's Law 26 from Robert Greene, the 48 Laws of Power. So we can expand on that little allegory. What's the point? Shit's not always fucking fair, and it's not right, and it's bullshit. So the guy killed the person, and you would think that the customer would want justice and death by hanging. I mean, eye for an eye justice. If not death by hanging, then something equivalent, life imprisonment or some shit. But instead of doing any of those types of things, now I have another one here. So manifestos. I mean, that she looked like Caucasian, or he, or whatever. That Aubrey Hale looked Caucasian, and then you have this 25-year-old Connor Sturgeon. Now Connor Sturgeon is an All-American. 25-year-old Connor Sturgeon. He was in track and basketball and football, so he's like the homecoming king, and so he excelled when it came to kicking ass and taking names in his high school years. And then what happens? He goes to college, he gets finance degree, so he's doing good, right? He's getting all these fucking college degrees. He's Mr. All-American Connor Sturgeon. This is going to be the Louisville shooting, the Louisville bank shooting. And this happened last month. So, off the top, banks are terrible. Banks are fucking awful. You give a man a gun and he might be able to rob a bank, but give a man a bank and he could rob the world. So Connor Sturgeon, had a gun and he called a bunch of his friends and said he was going to shoot up the bank. What the fuck happened? Mr. All-American, kicked ass in high school, kicked ass in college, and then goes into the banking industry, and then all of a sudden what happened? A bunch of 60-year-old, 70-year-old fucking boomers, a bunch of fucking boomers trying to take every fucking thing away from everybody. 8:30 a.m., Old National Bank. 5 employees were killed, 8 injured. That's incredible that, these motherfuckers are able... This is a war situation, is it not? You should be posed and ready. Not just for assholes, but for fucking mass shooters, gangsters. There was one good quote from Robert Greene where he said that life is just an ever-ending war against man's wicked nature. So at any point in time, a person could just fucking flip the fuck out. And yeah, you do want to mitigate the damage. If you can't stop the damn thing, then at least reduce the harm. So Connor Sturgeon had a big, long manifesto too. So really, I would like to know the reasons. What would cause a person to snap the way that they fucking snapped? Because when you're a person who is suicidal, a person who is killing these people, they're suicidal. And when you're suicidal, what the person who is suicidal is saying is that they don't see any other options. They see no light at the end of the tunnel. There are no other options. For Connor Sturgeon, he had to go into the bank. He had no other options. What other options did he have? Well, he had a lot of other options. But like Jordan Peterson says, this is America. So nobody could give Connor Sturgeon a kind word or an encouraging word. Nobody could actually talk to Connor Sturgeon as if he mattered. And that's weird. He's a Caucasian too. Here's you got 1 Caucasian, 2 Caucasian, and they're saying that this country is worth such crap country, so awful, so terrible. They're going to do the worst, most heinous fucking deed ever. Get themselves killed, and a lot of people are going to get hurt because they're in unbearable pain. They see no light at the end of the tunnel. So apparently mental illness, ease of buying guns. I can't believe any of these motherfuckers. The corporations, they go there, they write a fucking article, they pretend to give a shit, but if it bleeds, it leads. So the corporations got to have some story to sell their fucking, diamonds and products and shit. So the cops don't give a shit. The cops like to go up and just, when there's a root 'em, toot 'em, shoot 'em, McToot 'em, thing going down, they might do okay. But if they have to investigate or ask a couple questions, don't fucking count on the police for shit. Apparently, Governor Andy Beshear was close with one of the victims. The victims are all old people. So what I could see is that Connor Sturgeon went into the damn bank, and then all these old fucking piles of shit were just a bunch of, they didn't run no basketball. They couldn't dunk a ball. They didn't have no fucking discipline. They weren't athletic, and they weren't caring about their health. They weren't All-Americans. They were a bunch of douchebag fucking losers stuck in a finance fucking bank, and they had to fucking shit on Connor Sturgeon until eventually they were going to fire Connor Sturgeon. They're going to fire Connor Sturgeon. Why? Because he gave a little old widow a fucking bank loan, tried to give her a little house, have a little old widow, she could use her Social Security money so she essentially could pay for the thing, and they're not going to profit off of it much. He's only going to get like a 1% profit off of it. So they said that buying guns and mental illness, which is, that's all anybody fucking talks about. The right wing pretends to care about mental illness. The left wing pretends to care about, people buying guns. Nobody actually gives a shit. Nobody cares. AR-15, it was bought 6 days from a local gun shop. he had a clean record. So what do you do with that, huh? When a person has a completely clean record and he's an All-American and you push Pat Tillman to, fucking go off to war to go shoot people and then a friendly fire shoots him in the head. What then, huh? Chronic traumatic, so they're going to check to see if there's like brain injury. The mother called 911. Where'd you hear about that? Oh, I can't stand the dispatchers. The 911 dispatch. I don't think I could call the police ever again. After my experiences with Costilla County, I could never call the police ever again. The judge says I was supposed to keep calling the police. I don't like being a victim, so you all like to victimize me and victimize me and victimize me. You can't stop the criminals who are criminalizing. I don't know what else I could have done, to be honest with you. I called the police. I tried to organize the neighborhood. I wrote the thing up. I videotaped things. I got all the evidence in the damn world. I just need a system to give a shit. But the system wants to fuck you over, so they can't give a shit. They can't fucking do it. They're criminals. And that sucks, because if America is... our democracy is based upon the virtue of our people, there's not any virtue in the people. Our democracy, if Costilla County, if America is anything like Costilla County, our democracy, our republic is almost done. All North Korea has to do is come over and that's it. We don't know our Constitution. We don't know our Bills of Rights. We don't know our place in the world or our place in history. So, okay, he's our daddy now. Oh, okay, Kim Jong-un is our daddy now, so we'll just have to obey him. And actually get some order. Get some order in this damn country. I could see a lot of people being on the side of some motherfucking piece of shit just coming and invading. They don't have any beliefs. So makes you think like when Americans liberated Nazi Germany, good for us, but the German women seem to really, take a liking to the American soldier, the American GI. Didn't you love your husband that we just, didn't you love that man that we just, didn't you care about that, So some people say that Connor Sturgeon was on the brink of being terminated, but maybe not. What was the fucking issue? What was the straw that broke the camel's back? What was the general issues? What was the general circumstances? He's got to pay rent, right? He's got to pay fucking some shitty landlord who's pressing on him. Got to pay your rent, and then he's got a fucking cable bill. Got to pay that cable bill. Gets a job, and then they're like, you got to do this, do that, do this, or you're not going to be able to pay your rent and your cable bill. So they start fucking with him. He's just being oppressed all over the place, left, right, up, and down. If the point was to show something about mental illness and the ease of buying guns, if anything, he did show both of those things, but I feel like there's more to it than just that. See, the mother called 911. He left a voicemail. Monotone personality. So basically, he was, trying to be monotone, trying to play your stupid fucking dumbass bureaucratic game where you don't say or do anything. So he also live streamed the whole shooting on Instagram. So that means this video is out there somewhere. He had a manifesto. Aubrey Hale had a manifesto. Ultimately, I guess we don't have to say the words that they use because they were crying out in pain and nobody heard them. And so when Jordan Peterson says that people are dying for a lack of encouraging word, how come nobody could tell Connor Sturgeon one kind word? No, why couldn't anybody encourage Aubrey Hale? Not one kind word. He kicked ass when it came to college and basketball, track, finance. There is no red flags whatsoever with Connor Sturgeon. The only thing is you guys were pieces of fucking shit, and he couldn't take it. It was the people at the bank I was fucking with him, and it was his landlord and the people in his immediate vicinity. He didn't see any light at the end of his tunnel, and so he fucking snapped, and he said, fuck this bullshit. Now, I lived in Louisville, Kentucky. I graduated from the University of Louisville. Now, Jennifer Lawrence is from Louisville, Kentucky, too. It's interesting how we both could be from, she's from Louisville. I'm from Gallatin County, northern Kentucky. Boone, Carroll, Grant County to a lesser extent. But when I went to Louisville, I went to the University of Louisville, and then I went to graduate school afterwards. Well, I got beat up by the cops and then raped in jail. And nobody gave a shit. I filed the charges with one man. He didn't give a shit. I filed charges with another man. He didn't give a shit. I was running for lieutenant governor at the time. So any reporter that just wants to say, hey, why are you running for governor? Well, you guys like to rape people, and I'm against raping people. So there's a big fucking reason right there. I tried to report it to one guy, and he seemed gung-ho like he wanted to rape me again. Oh, you got raped, so we're just going to fucking pass you around. So that was my experience, in Louisville, Kentucky. There's landlord, assholes, pieces of shit, guy with a fucking dog, fucking dickhead neighbors, dickhead classmates, dickhead fucking professors, dickhead bureaucrats. I had a tent. I was part of Occupy Louisville. I had a tent on the University of Louisville. I said, hey, America, let's do better. Hey, let's get rid of poverty, the 99%. So even though I was being fucked with and tortured, I was also speaking up for my fellow man, which is quite incredible. And I bet you I was ignoring my shit, and I was still caring about the common man. In Louisville, Jennifer Lawrence grew up in Louisville too. Now she was riding horses, and she just had a nice themed life, and just, she went out and got it. She went out and started acting, and good for her. I'm happy for her. But there's two different paths. You live in Louisville and you're a good man. Well, you could easily be raped in jail. If you're a good woman, well, you could have a nice, fantastic life. And whenever you put the effort in, you get paid for your work, and you get to keep what you work for. So Jennifer Lawrence had a nice Tom Petty free-falling, she's a good girl. Loves her mama, loves Jesus, and America too. She's a good girl, crazy about Elvis. Loves horses and freedom and the civil liberties and the Constitution, too. He was also a late bloomer, which I don't know what that means, but Connor Sturgeon was also a late bloomer. So he's 25 years old, late bloomer, so he was an adult for 8 years. Connor Sturgeon got to be in America for 8 whole years. He did your all's bullshit. Listen to psychic determinism. He didn't choose to live where he was born and all the shit in the beginning. He didn't choose any of that shit. And this happened right on Main Street. So, what can be said about that? What can be said about any of this? What can be said about any of this? April 14th, 1865 is when Abraham Lincoln is going to get shot, and then he's going to die April 15th, 7:22 a.m. He had convened a cabinet meeting that morning before he got shot and killed. Oh, Captain, my Captain, U.S. Grant. U.S. Grant was there, Johnston, Sherman. They reached an agreement. No, they weren't there. U.S. Grant was there. Johnston and Sherman had reached an agreement. They had reached an agreement, and it was sent to Washington. Johnston and Sherman, but Lincoln was murdered. So that means Johnston and Sherman's agreement wasn't sent to Lincoln. It was sent to Andrew Johnson. Andrew Johnson is going to reject it with Edwin Stanton's advice. Instead of coming up to an agreement, what Andrew Johnson and Edwin Stanton wanted was unconditional surrender. No, you just do unconditional surrender, or 48 hours we're going to go in there and fuck you up. Jefferson Davis, he's going to run off to Mississippi, and then he's got an idea. He's going to try to go to Mississippi and then to Mexico. Keep the Confederate War going, go to Brazil. But eventually, after they had been on the run for so long, Basil W. Duke told Jefferson Davis the reason why him and his soldiers came along with Jefferson Davis was so that he could still have the dignity of being the president and not a fugitive. But they all said that the war was over and they weren't going to fight no more. They were only here to allow Jefferson Davis to have a, respectable end or whatever. Jefferson Davis still being alive and not being arrested was the Confederate cause still living on. Lee had surrendered. Johnston had surrendered. All the generals had surrendered. But Lincoln was shot and killed. So that actually, in terms of warfare, Jefferson Davis was, an older president than Andrew Johnson was. And Andrew Johnson, that fucking turncoat Democrat piece of shit, in terms of politics, both Jefferson Davis and Andrew Johnson. Andrew Johnson's famous quote is, "Damn the Negro, it's those Southern aristocrat bastards I'm after." So he was trying to say, damn the Negro, as in, like, just put them off to the side. It's these traitorous, murderous, aristocratic piles of shit that he needs to deal with. And he's right. But that's just like when Sherman says that he's not going to fight for the abolitionists. You're fighting for the Union. Everybody's fighting for the Union, huh? You're not fighting for your fellow man. You know how incredible the Civil War was because we got rid of slavery? But it all came down to Basil W. Duke telling Jefferson Davis that it's over. And eventually Jefferson Davis turned white as a ghost, and all is indeed lost, he said. And then as they kept on going, Jefferson Davis had like $500,000 in treasury. And so the fucking soldiers were like, okay, now you need to pay us up right now, motherfucker. Because once they capture you, then they're going to take all this fucking money. So you at least give us the money that we deserve as, you know, fighting for as soldiers. So they kind of robbed him. The rebel soldiers kind of robbed Jefferson Davis. You're going to get arrested. All your money's going to go straight to them. So why not just give us, hopefully, I don't, who cares? Well, I don't. They better just took their fair share. They could have just took the whole pile and divided it up into equal shares. That would have been the fairest way to do it. But all this shit around, you know, Jefferson Davis is still going on. So Abraham Lincoln is dead. Jefferson Davis is still going to live. He's going to get arrested and he's going to be able to live like forever. He don't get hung or anything. He dies an old man. And then people say that the greatest rebellion, he led the greatest rebellion the world has ever known. It was an ugly, disgusting rebellion for white supremacy and fucking slavery. They want to maintain their terrible fucking institutions. So, what does all this mean? I don't know. I think there's a connection somehow. Isn't there a connection somehow? When you have these gangs infiltrating the cops, right, in L.A. County. You got cops out there, but you also got gangs who are part of the cops. And when the gangs and the cops become one, I mean, typically you're not supposed to be a snitch, right? You're not supposed to tell the fucking, but if you're the fucking cops, right? If you're the fucking banditos and the jump out boys and you got the police power, then you could just find out what the police know, and then you two know, and then you two fucking run the fucking streets. You run the fucking show. So if the executioners and the Grim Reapers, or the Reapers, the gladiators, the cowboys, the Buffalo Soldiers. The Buffalo Soldiers infiltrate, you know, some police station, Malibu. Let's say they infiltrate the Malibu police station. Well, they got all your fucking information, all your data. They can run your fucking name and this and that. They can punch any fucking information, accuse you of any goddamn thing. And ultimately, while we have a pretense of jury trials, I feel like if a judge can just, you know, put a stamp of approval for crap that cops do, well, it wouldn't be that hard for a cop to kidnap a person and throw them into a jail, and then they just never leave. They just go into a back room and get beat up until they are no more. So that's quite a scary proposition. Here I'm pushing for super cops, right? Cops that can point to other cops and say, you know, you can't commit crimes either. But super cops that also know that you're protecting civil liberties out here. You're establishing justice. You're promoting the domestic tranquility, promoting the peace and domestic tranquility, providing for the common defense. That's the preamble of the Constitution. You're a law enforcer, so in order to know the law, you must know the Constitution. All the laws come from the Constitution. If you don't even know the Constitution, well, then you don't know any of the laws. How can you be a cop if you don't know any of the laws? You got to enforce the damn laws if you're a law enforcer. So, yeah, I don't know. Shit's fucked up and shit, and it's, I wish we could do better. I wish we could start good, honest, you know, angel brigades. Power can be corrupting, but goddammit, you haven't heard me for 41 years, so I'm wondering, what if we start listening to what John Masters says? What if we start listening to John Masters? Okay, there's crime in the neighborhood. Well, we need to get other people that's opposed to crime, principally. If I have to tell you that crime is a bad thing, then I don't need you. But if the people that already think that crimes are fucking bad don't go around it's immoral, but it's also illegal. So if you think crimes are okay, then you're not even saying you have no morals, and you're saying that the system is fucked. So what am I saying? What am I saying? I'm telling you what I'm trying to say. God damn it. Shit's fucked up and shit, but the good, we do have enough good to defeat the bad. So maybe we can end this off on a positive note, huh? What good do we have? What good is happening? We have the institution of elections. There's moderate wealth. There's a degree of peace and order in society. A lot of people seem to be doing okay, so a lot of people either are complacent because either they don't give a shit or maybe they just, America seems to work for them. And if America works to them, then when they hear about something stupid happening, then they think, well, shit, it must be the person that it didn't work for. They must have done, the homeless person that just got shot up must have done something wrong. Well, yeah, he was living in the street. And in a police state, you can't show your face. You can't show your face. You ain't allowed to be. You ain't allowed to exist. You're living in the sidewalk. Oh my goodness, where are you pissing? Where are you shitting? Oh my God. And then if we're pretending that America's a perfect place and we got all of our shit together, then, you're blighting my illusions. You're blighting my illusions about my country. I thought this country's a great place. It must be your fault. You must be lazy. You must be making bad decisions. You're insulting how great I think this country could be or is supposed to be. I don't know. So we could do better, right? We could do better, and we should. If we can, we should. So always improve, always get better. And, be kind to each other,